Let us first understand the very essence of our topic. Empowering women through law. What is law? Can anyone explain it to me? What is law? It's very tough to define law. Actually, there is no specific single definition of law. Defining law is as simple as passing a camel through a needle's eye. मतलब एक ऊंट को सुई के आई के बीच से गुजरना जितना सिंपल है, इट इज इम्पॉसिबल. क्यों? क्योंकि लॉ हर सोसाइटी में अलग अलग है. इट इज बेस्ड ऑन द पर्सन हु इज डिफाइनिंग लॉ. इफ आई वर टू डिफाइन लॉ based on current scenario, I will define based on the condition of a society, based on the condition of the government, based on which I can vaguely give a definition of law. Similar to that, in past, various legal historians, philosophers defines law in their own sense, evaluating the period they were in. So it is almost next to impossible to give a exact single definition of law. But what you can do is you can explain law. It is easy. Law is a set of rules and regulations formulated to regulate the society or the conduct of human being. Simple लफ्जों में एक set of rules है, regulations है, जो एक society के conduct को govern करता है. Without rules, without regulations, इस सोसाइटी में सिर्फ जानवर रह सकते, इंसान नहीं. There will be chaos. Society will be divided. If there is no order, if there are no rules, there are no restrictions imposed on men and women of the society, there will be no order in the society. So, we are talking about empowering women through law. In small or very basic sense, law is just a set of rules and regulations. Nothing more than that. Now, before explaining to you all what are your rights given under the Constitution of our India, various laws, first we need to understand what is Constitution, right? This cute little book is called Constitution. Now, every country has its own constitution. Why? As I said, to govern a society, you require rules and regulations. This constitution is called as the supreme law of the land. There is nothing more powerful than this. Even the Prime Minister, even the judges, even the Supreme Court, even the High Courts, even the President, everyone has to abide by this Constitution. Why it is so powerful and why you need to follow this Constitution and why it is drafted on the first basis. Let me give you a brief history about the Constitution. What do we celebrate on 26th January? What do we celebrate? Republic Day, correct? What happened in Republic Day?
Constitution of India.
Exactly. We, the people of India, adopted this Constitution. This Constitution was drafted by a Constituent Assembly. It consists of around 299 members, 9 of which were females. The chief architect who drafted this constitution was none other than our B.R. Ambedkar sahab. So right now we know to govern society, what do we need? Rules and regulations. This is that rules and regulation which is called supreme law of the land. There is nothing beyond this. Okay, whatever the laws enacted in this country by the parliament has to adhere the principles enriched in this constitution. Okay, if there is something which goes against what is written here, which goes against the principle of this constitution, then such law is null and void. It will be quashed by the Supreme Court and the High Courts. Okay? This constitution was drafted by the chief architect, the Constituent Assembly. The chief architect was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. 26 January, as rightly quoted by our sister, we adopted this constitution and India became a republic democratic. Understand? It is also called a living document. मतलब ये कोई बेजान किताब नहीं है, इसके अंदर जान है. बेजान किताब वो है, एक बार लिख दिया, you cannot amend it. इसको वापस नहीं लिखा जाएगा, इसको amend नहीं किया जाएगा. There will be no changes. But this is called a living document. इसके अंदर जान है, इसलिए है क्योंकि from the time of independence till now there has been many amendments because society grows, needs of the woman and the men changes, new technology, new customs, new traditions. We have to acquire to the customs, we have to acquire to the modern changes. Based on that, there are so many amendments made to this document, and in future as well there will be amendment made to the based on the requirements of the society. Understanding? Now, right now it has 448 articles. When I say articles, do you have a basic common knowledge of what the provisions of law is, right? If you read any law, the provisions of law is divided into sections. Section 1, 2, 3 to n number. It is called sections. Each section will give you its own definition, meaning, and whatever is provided in the law. But what is given under these sections in Constitution, we call them as articles. Article 1 to Article 448 right now. It is divided into 25 parts. And in our Indian Constitution, it is beautifully written and it is divided the sectors beautifully. The one major sector is legislature. The another sector is executive. One more important sector is judiciary. It has divided and given almost similar power to all three sectors. Legislature is nothing but our politicians, the government, who draft rules and regulations. Executive is nothing but the agency which enforce these rules and regulations. And judiciary, it acts as a watchdog. It punishes the person who goes beyond what is written in the rules and regulations, who violates the rules and regulations. The judiciary will address such person. Understood? So in Constitution, basically we have three sectors: legislature, executive, and the judiciary. Right? Right now we have a basic understanding of what is law. Right now we have a basic understanding of what is Constitution. Now the very important, I would say, topic in this Constitution is called fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are nothing but basic but important rights given by the Constitution to all its citizens to live a dignified life, to have a liberty, to have a freedom. So first understand the important chapter in this Constitution called Fundamental Rights. It is given in the part 3rd of the Constitution. Fundamental rights articles ranges from Article 12 till 35. Okay? Only till 12 till 35 you will have your fundamental rights. And that to Article 12 and 13 is not necessary. It starts from Article 14 till Article 35. Now, let us see what are the laws specifically made for women. Let us start with Article 14. Article 14 simply says right to equality That means, in simple terms, equality before law and equal protection of law. What is equality before law? It says men and women of the society should be treated equally. There should not be any laws favoring men dominating women or favoring women dominating men. When I talk about empowerment here and when I talk about Article 14, pay attention. Article 14 says equal protection of law. Okay? Now, just answer to this question. You don't have to be correct, okay? I know. You don't have to be correct. Just tell me yes or no. Is it discrimination if a country makes a law specifically for women? Is it a discrimination against male? The male counterpart? Yes or no? Raise your hand who says yes. You know, Article 14 says equality before law and equal protection of law. Correct? It is written in Constitution. When the article says equal protection of law and equality before law, is it discriminating if we make laws specifically for the women, okay, and not for the men? Just raise your hand who says it is discrimination against men. And raise your hand who says no, there can be laws separately made to women. Raise your hand. Understand? Alright, great. I am going to tell you the next article. This will clarify this doubt. Okay? Article 15, the very next article. It says, Article 15 says there should be no discrimination based on sex, that is gender, caste, religion or place of birth. When government makes law, there should be no discrimination based on gender, no discrimination based on your caste, no discrimination based on your religion. There should be no discrimination based on the place you belong. Again, Article 15 is supporting Article 14. That is, there should be no discrimination based on gender. But that same article, Article 15, Clause 3. There are clauses. This is Article 14 and the same article in Article 15, the Article 15 Clause 3. No, it's fine. Article 15 Clause 3. It says the state, when I say state, the country, the state shall make laws specifically favoring women. Now this we call positive discrimination. It is not negative discrimination. Now why to give such an important emphasis to women? Why? Because to understand this, we need to have a slight basic knowledge of history. Even the pre-independence, post-Vedic period you go, women are even today considered as a suppressed class of our society, due to which the constitution beautifully have given the right to its citizens and the government that obviously wherever you make laws to men, make sure you don't discriminate against women. But at the same Article 15 Clause 3, it has specifically provided provision that you can make laws specifically for the betterment, for the empowerment of women. Right? If we understand history, there has been many instances where customs and practices and general instances where women are suppressed, are discriminated to beyond. Do you know about the concept of sati? Understood, right? It's a custom which involves when the husband dies, the woman, the wife of such person, in Hindus, they burn the bodies. They used to burn the brides as well. They used to burn the wives as well. Such a heinous concept that is. If there are no laws to protect such a particular woman, what would happen? You know who abolished this sati system? Who? That's a quiz for you. Remember and tell me, at the end of this session. It ends with Roy. Exactly. Okay? Now, because of such type of customs, traditions, and male dominance, the Constitution, when we adapted on Republic Day, we have clearly given protection to the woman in the Constitution itself. And this Constitution tells the government that you can establish laws specifically favoring women. Now, we understood Article 14. What it says? Equality before law and equal protection of law. Article 15, what it says? This is the most important article for you. Remember it. Article 15 again says there should be no discrimination based on sex, class, caste, creed, or place of birth. Okay. Article 15 clause 3 specifically says that there can be special provisions made for the purpose of the betterment or empowerment of women. Anybody having hard time understanding me? Just say yes or no. I will clarify. Even clarify in Urdu, bilingual. Everybody understanding? Right? Okay. Fine. Now let's move on to some other articles. Why I said Article 14 and 15? Because these are the foundation. Whatever article I am going to speak, or whatever section, or whatever acts, or whatever law I am going to speak, more or less based on this article itself. Because this is the foundation which provides that a special law can be made for women. Let's speak about Article 19. Under Article 19 there are various things. Specifically, let's speak about Article 19 clause 1 clause 8. Right to freedom of speech and expression. Why it is important? If there is no freedom given, let's talk about women. If there is no freedom given to women, how the world, the society will know what atrocities are being done to them. Or forget about atrocities, how the world know what a woman wants to say, what a woman wants to convey. Because of this provision, women can express themselves freely in all traits of life. You can write, you can speak, you have a right to protest. Alright? All these are given under Article 19. Same time, Article 19 clause 2 provides some exceptions. Make sure while exercising your right under Article 19, you don't cross your limits. You don't say something which is derogatory to maybe other sector of the society. Fine. One of the most important articles in our constitution is Article 21. Article 21. This is, anybody knows? Because this is a famous article. This is right to life and personal liberty. Look at the mindset of the framers, the framers of constitution while they are writing the constitution, how broad they have thought about everything. This provides, under this fundamental right, there are many hidden rights. This contains right to privacy. Right to dignity, right to live your life with dignity. Not just live, but to live with dignity. This is one of the most important articles. And I said in the beginning, why we say this is our fundamental right? Because no law is bigger than Constitution. We have discussed 14, we have discussed 15, we have discussed 19, we have discussed 21. It includes right to privacy. What is it? It's a fundamental aspect of our life. If privacy is not given, anybody can interfere in your daily life. You will be sitting at home, anybody can come and peek through the window. Forget about that, you are just writing right now. If she is without your consent, checking on your notes, it is your breach of privacy. Understood? It's a broader concept. So, right to privacy is very important. I have told you about fundamental rights. There is something in the constitution called, we usually call it in a smaller sense, DPSP. This is nothing but directives, principles of state policy. Now, fundamental rights, if gets violated, you can directly move to the courts. And under which law you can move to the courts? Again, the constitution itself provides. Under Article 226, you can move to the any high court. Under Article 32, you can move to any, not any. There is only one Supreme Court in the country. You can move to the Supreme Court. Fine. DPSP in another sense, it's a directive principles given to the state. Consider this as a instructions given to the lawmakers, the legislative part of our country, to include certain things while they enact law. You cannot claim this as a matter of right. Okay. For example, under the directive principle of state policy, it says the states that please make separate laws for the women in the field of education, public employment. Alright? It also says that please make laws for women which provides equal pay for equal work. Don't discriminate. Alright? This also covers under this article as well. But this also gives them as a direction. Please do this as well for the betterment of the society. Alright? Like that, there are various number of directions. You can see Article 39 clause E, Article 39 clause D. As I said, these talk about these two things. Special laws for education, special laws for women in the field of employment. Alright. And another aspect of this constitution is fundamental duties. That is, when we have rights, the law expects us to follow some duties as well. Speaking strictly in the sense of protecting of women in fundamental duties, it says that please abolish any act which discriminates women. Please abolish any customs or traditions you have been following which discriminate women. Customs like sati. Okay? It says the general citizen that whatever hurts women or discriminates women, please abolish that. Concept of dowry, the concept of sati, the concept of domestic violence. It tells the general citizen that please avoid this. Alright? Now, you have understood what is law, what is constitution, relevant articles of constitution. You have a basic idea, I believe right now, that why constitution is important. Understood? As I said, constitution is the supreme law of our land. It gives direction to the government as well, it gives certain rights and duties to citizen as well. Right now itself, it is the longest written constitution in the entire world. No country has such lengthy constitution. Okay? That's why it is just a document which gives the direction and which sets the basic foundation and principles acting on which the state should make separate laws. We have studied the constitution minimum. Now let us move on to the specific acts. We call it as acts, that is specific laws made specifically for the protection or prohibition of discrimination against women. Alright. Now apart from BNS and BNSS, we have the Dowry Prohibition Act, which prohibits taking dowry. We have the Domestic Violence Act. We have the Maternity Benefit Act. We have the Equal Remuneration Act. We have the Child Marriage, the Provision of Child Marriage Act. Like this, there are n number of acts. Now, to make this simple and to make this pretty interesting, let us take hypothetical example. Okay, let us take a hypothetical example of a girl named Fathima. Alright, because I personally believe a woman in her entire lifespan wear different crowns, right? She being a daughter, she being a professional, she being a wife, she being a mother, she has to go through all the aspects of life with different kind of responsibility. She wears different kind of crowns in her entire life. So let's take a hypothetical example of a girl, Fatima. Let's see, she belongs to a humble, a modest a background, from a neighborhood like this. Alright? When she is born, right from she takes birth, the laws of our country comes to force. Alright? How many of you know that you cannot reveal the gender of the fetus, the baby? You all are aware of that, right? Right? Doctors will not tell you. When you go to the ultrasound, they will not tell you that whether you are carrying a female fetus or a male fetus. Why? It is prohibited in law. There is an act called the Preconception and the Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act. Alright, it's all there in the article I published, you can read there. Based on that act, it prohibits the doctors exposing or telling even the mother or the relatives of the mother or the father that whether the fetus, the sex of the fetus, whether it's male or female. If they do so, there are severe punishment of 3 to 5 years, and a fine of up to 15,000. Alright? So based on that act, it is prohibited. So at the time of Fatima is not even born yet. When she is the fetus, the law applies to her. Now she is born. Now let's see. She has to do. She's a ambitious girl. She wants to do education. She wants to pursue education. There is an act called Right to Education Act. Under that act, a girl from age of 6 to 14 can get absolutely free education, a free of cost education. You just have to register it. There are portals given in every state. If you are a girl if you know someone who cannot afford education, who are of 16 to 14 years of age, they can apply under Right to Education Act and get completely free education. And we spoke earlier, Article 15 Clause 3 says, make special provisions like that. So every state in our country has passed various policies. Even in Tamil Nadu, they have some CM cell and CM scheme, Chief Minister scheme for educating girl child. Okay, so there are central laws, there are state specific laws which works towards the empowerment of women. So if Fatima wants to study, she can continue her education free of cost. Let's see, she has completed her basic bare minimum education. She wants to do graduation. Similar sense, there are scholarship given specifically focusing women. There are schemes implemented by central government. You might have heard Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Yojana and all. What happens under these schemes? They support the underprivileged girls, women who wants to pursue education for free. Now let's see, the law has helped Fatima securing education. And let us also see some criminal aspects under the provisions of BLS. There are provisions given for sexual harassment. There were provisions given for stalking. I know, being a girl is not easy. At any point of time, a girl unfortunately has to face certain ill elements of society, make it sexual harassment, be it stalking. Stalking is online as well as offline as well. Somebody is stalking you online, somebody is texting you, disturbing you, or if somebody is calling you offline, or making any sexually colored remarks against you, there is punishment given under BNS. There is imprisonment up to 3 to 5 years again. Especially for stalking, if he repeats that incident again, there is an imprisonment for 5 years. Now, what you have to do in this sense, whenever you come across such difficulties, don't worry about anything. Just call in the helpline number. This is 112. It is police helpline number. Just call them and tell them in plain simple language. See, I am so and so from so and so. This is the thing happening with me. I need assistance. Within 10 minutes, there are specially women cell dedicated to every jurisdiction, every place, every police station. They will be keep on taking rounds. Any one of point at any 10 to 15 minutes, any one member of the police with a female police officer will come to your assistance at your doorstep. You don't have to go to police station, you don't have to go to anywhere, to register an FIR. Once that is done, then the later step is you go to police station, then you briefly explain, then you give a written complaint, briefly explain about your scenario, then you get a FIR registered. Alright? Even same in case of cyber bullying or cyber harassment, cyber stalking. There is a cyber cell number called 1930. Just call to that number. They will ask a set of questions, answer to that. They will register a complaint. Later, you have to go to police station, give a formal written complaint, get your file. So, to protect Fatima from these ill elements, the law is working. Alright. Now let's see, she graduates. Now she becomes a well-educated lady. She is in search of employment. She gets a very good employment. There the Fatima realized that she is being paid lesser than her male counterparts, than her male colleagues. What Fatima should do? There also the law protects Fatima. There is a law called the Equal Remuneration Act. Under that law, it is mandatory for the employer to not to discriminate, to provide equal pay for equal work. If the work is of similar nature, whoever is employing you, he has to pay equal amount. There should be no discrimination based on what this article says 15, based on your gender, based on your caste, based on your religion, based on your place. Under the Equal Remuneration Act, the Fatima is covered. She can file a complaint if she feels that there is a discrimination happening. Now, another thing happens in the workplace is, because in today's time you work with male colleagues, it is inevitable, and some ill members of the society takes that opportunity to harass women. There will be a sexual harassment, any sexually colored remarks made to you. What should Fatima do there? For that, the law gives, we call it as POSH Act, POSH. It is Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act at workplace. This act was enacted. There was a famous case, Vishaka versus Rajasthan. In that case, a female faced similar situation in her workplace. So the court ordered, in the sense that the court, because in DPSP, what I said, there are instructions given to the government to make laws in the betterment of women. Even say in Article 15 Clause 3, it says, please make laws in the betterment of women, which empowers women, which protects women. So the court told the government that please make laws regarding this. This is a huge concern. Sexual harassment at workplace, it's a huge concern. So the government made an enactment called the Sexual Harassment Prohibition, Prevention and Redressal Act of Women at Workplace. Now under this law, it is mandatory if any company or if any employment has more than 10 members, it is mandatory for them to form a committee called ICC. This is Internal Complaints Committee. This should be at every workplace, not just workplace, even colleges, even companies, wherever there is more than 10 employment. They said that wherever there is large employment, you should have, wherever you employ women specifically, you should have internal complaints committee. The work of that committee is to hear the redressal, hear the complaints of the women. Okay? Even in your colleges, if you go tomorrow, ask about this. Whether the colleges have internal complaints committee. Where do you go to complain? To your lecturers, to your HODs, to your principals? Fine. The same lecturers, principal or HODs might be the members of the committee. Alright? So just inquire about this. Fine. Now Fathima is covered from sexual harassment, stalking, everything else. Now she wants to, let's say, she is well educated, she wants to serve the society now. She wants to take part in the electoral process. She wants to serve the society by becoming a legislature, because the power is given to the legislature to make laws. You vote, you choose the representative. In that also the constitution under article, not in just one article, 243 clause D and T, it says that there should be 1/3 reservation provided to the woman. So if she wants, there is a reservation for Fatima to go get elected as a representative and make laws. Fine. The marriage aspect comes, she abides to the sunnah and she wants to marry now. Now there is something called the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. In this act, it says that a female below 18 and a male below 21, if they get married, this is called child marriage. To get married, a female has to be the age of 18 or above, a male has to be age of 21 or above. Because this is still a very prevalent issue in our country. If you go to the sites of Rajasthan, child marriages are very dominantly happening still there. This act not only prohibits child marriage, it also provides sections which says that if there are forced child marriage, the woman when she got married, she was a minor, she was forced to do so. When she becomes a major, at her choice, she can revoke such marriage. She can withdraw from such marriage. Alright? Nobody can stop her. It is her right. Understood? And it also places punishment to the person, a major who married a minor, to go through the imprisonment. Not only the person who married the minor will go to such imprisonment, the parents or the families who came together and established such bond which prohibits a child marriage, they will also be prosecuted. They will also be punished. Even the person who attends such marriage will also be punished. Understanding? This is the beauty of law. when our legislature makes a law in the view of empowering women, they think in a very vast sense. They want to cover all the aspects. Alright? Now, as Fatima is already educated, she knows that it is prohibited. She can get married. Nobody can force her to marry. Now, there are two laws specifically governing Muslim women. Before that, I will explain. We follow Muslim personal law as per Sharia. There are some aspects of our religion as per Constitution, because Constitution also gives you a right to profess your religion, right to practice your religion. What do you mean by practicing your religion? Whatever is written in the Quran and Sunnah, we have to follow it. And if the Quran and Sunnah provides us a certain set of rules and regulations, how you can marry, how can give divorce, how can acquire property, how can adopt, we will follow such personal laws. Now, there are laws like the rights of Muslim women on marriage, as well as the rights of Muslim women on divorce. The rights of Muslim women on marriage, it was enacted in a famous case. It's called Shabano case. You all aware that if the divorce happens, you have to observe a iddat period, and during that iddat period, the ex-husband is supposed to give you maintenance. The courts made this act to ensure that the divorced Muslim woman will, by matter of right, can claim maintenance from her husband during her iddat period. In this law, as I said, it covers broader perspective. It also says that if the husband is not capable of maintaining the wife or the ex-wife during the period of iddat, the relative of the husband should maintain, or even at least the work board stated they have to maintain such women during the period of the iddat. So it is given as a matter of right. Same goes for divorce, and this particular act enacted to abolish the talaq-e-biddat, that is triple talaq. As per this act, if any husband commits instant triple talaq. What is instant triple talaq? Just say talaq, talaq, talaq and talaq. No, I said talaq thrice, talaq happened. So this prohibits instant. Well, even in our Islamic religion, it is called talaq-e-biddat. It is encouraged not to opt for this kind of talaq. But general misconception is that triple talaq will not be applicable at all. This act abolished instant triple talaq. At the very moment, nobody can say talaq thrice and expect the marriage to get over. He can say in a continuous period, like first month, he expresses his concern over talaq, he provides a notice, gives an entire month to think over. In another second month, he provides notice of talaq again. In third month, thrice, he provides the final notice of talaq. This gives the husband and the wife equal time to understand whether they really want to go through the talaq or whether there are chances of conjugal again. Understood? This is applicable. Instant triple talaq is abolished by this very act. So, specifically for Muslim, these are abolished. Now let's see, there is a law called the Maternity Benefit Act. This is specifically for women to conceive, and as Fatima is working, the law covers that she will be getting 26 weeks of paid leave from her employer. She has to. Alright? It is her right. Under the Maternity Benefit Act, it's Fatima's right to get 26 weeks of paid leave. And not only paid leave, during her period of leave, during the period of a pregnancy, no employer can revoke her employment. No employer can tell her that no, we are for any reason, not just you are pregnant, you will not be working, we are evicting you. No, during her pregnancy, during her paid leave, she cannot be revoked from her employment. All right. So this covers Fatima's right while she is pregnant. Now let's see Dowry Provision Act and Domestic Violence Act. Provision on domestic violence. In that as well, domestic violence is not just physical violence, it is also mental violence. The cruelty, mental cruelty, physical cruelty. If your in-laws, if your husband, is speaking ill of yourself or giving not only physical torture or mental torture as well, the law covers that. There are punishment for 3 to 5 years. Same goes for Dowry Provision Act. The dowry, as you all know, still prevails even in our society as well as the rest of the part of India. I want you to know that not just taking dowry is an offense, giving dowry is also an offense. Understanding? If a parent of any woman gives dowry to the groom or the parents of the groom, they will be held liable. And if the parents of groom receive dowry from the parents of bride, they will also be held liable. So, giving and taking dowry is punishable under the law. Understood? It starts from dowry. Before marriage, they will ask about dowry. You say fine, it's just gifts, we'll give it off. Tomorrow, it goes to cruelty. They will ask for more money. It goes against domestic violence. This evil keeps on multiplying. No matter what, make sure that you are aware about your rights, your duties, and if you or anybody else you know in society that going through this, you should be able to tell them that, then these are the rights available for you. Don't be worried. Okay? Because especially for women, I know still there are certain aspects of life where women are not able to speak up freely, not able to express themselves freely. But our law is designed in such a way that it will favor women. At the same time, make sure not to misuse this act. It is very important. I handle matrimonial cases. I represent male, that is the husbands as well, the wives as well. Understand? And there are cases that wives are aware of this law and have misused it against the male and her and his parents. And there are instances that wives are not aware of the basic legal rights and the males are still dominating. So, as law is balanced, has given you the rights as well as the duties, make sure to follow the rights as well as duties. Alright? Now, with all the laws, with all the rights Fatima has, Fatima becomes a well-educated, legally aware individual. Nobody can stop her achieving the heights of success. The matter of fact, do you know who was the first female Supreme Court judge? Her name was Fathima B. She was the first Muslim female judge as well as the first female judge of the Supreme Court of India. Fine. So this is my session. Hope you all benefited from this and acquired some knowledge at least. There is only one way to empower yourself is by education, is by gaining knowledge. And law is such a field that no matter tomorrow whatever you become doctors, you become engineers, you become teachers, you become housemakers, you become whatever you want. Knowledge of this is still privilege.